Hello, 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 and welcome to Shared Space with Quida and Chap. How you doing today, Chapo?
All is well. How are you? We can hop right into things. This month, April,
It is.
um, I was reading that it is Second Chance Awareness Month. So for returning citizens, people re-entering. On that note, Ride the Ride program at Morgan State has a workshop on Saturday, April 9th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Um, One of the interesting things happening that day is that there'll be an opportunity for entrepreneurs who are returning citizens can do a pitch contest and earn $1,000 grant towards starting their business. So you were mentioning this is also another awareness month for April.
Yes, it is Fair Housing Awareness Month. But just to keep on topic, there is also a re-entry resource fair at New Song Academy, and that is April 23rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at New Song Academy, and there'll be resources to help with expungement and professional clothing, voter registration, transportation, education, mental health, all of that good stuff. We also do our weekly wellness walk at Lake Montebello. You and Brandy made it out this week. Thank you very much at 9 a.m. at Lake Montebello. And also this book that Cody Brookdale wrote called Pages of My Journey. And it's great for people who are struggling with unhealthy eating habits. We know how common how often we talk about the food pyramid from 1980s and how that thing was just horrible and it's still perpetuated today. But anyway, Pages of My Journey, it's a great book for folks who are on unhealthy eating habits, and it gets really into deep details about the journey of achieving goals. And like I said, it's by Cody Brookdale. Then also the Community Digital Equity Project, that will be at I'm gonna say the address later, but it is Saturday, April 23rd, I believe, and we'll be talking about digital equity in the community and how we can improve that and create some mesh networks and teach people how to manage these kinds of things. So wait a minute, Chap. We never introduced ourselves. So I'm Laquita Chansey. I'm the founder and director of Baltimore Homes, and all of these issues are important because housing is a really big deal. It's how we build generational wealth. Redlining is real. And because I live in the Black Butterfly of Baltimore, I focus on digital equity, housing. We build micro shelters and tiny homes for folks who are unhoused. And Chap, you are always in these streets with
Yeah,
PowerFest. You were facilitating last week. I was facilitating for BNIA the week before.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so tell us about who are you, Chap? Introduce yourself.
Uh, I am Chaplain David Lovelace, known as Chap. I am a volunteer, full-time volunteer chaplain for Baltimore City Police Department. Through the department, I wouldn't say necessarily for the department. I love my brothers and sisters in blue. But initially, I was drawn into the service to ride along with them during a culture of, which still remains and resonates, but a culture of police violence against people of color. We were brought in to ride along with police, with a person of faith riding. If you had somebody sitting next to you, a person of faith at your job every day, you might behave a little differently. And so the idea just to initially make sure people were being treated respectfully and professionally on the street. At the same time, serving the police officers, they have somebody to talk to. We can serve in various capacities while doing ride-alongs. That if they have a chance to decompress, then maybe it doesn't come out projected on the next call.
Mm-hmm.
We get in the car with them, we get out the car, we serve the community and try to meet their needs and try to get ahead of or proactively police with them. I will say it's been an encouragement doing it. And even though the ride alongs were kind of sidelined for COVID, there's lots of different opportunities to try and bridge the gap between the community and the police, because not all the police are bad, and it every community will let you know which ones are right, and they know
Right.
who they are, and the police know who they are. So it's just good to be a part of that culture of trying to reconcile. That's the main thing I do. And through that hat, I serve a lot of different community partners like Baltimore Homes, and the Bunting Fellows at Hopkins. I love supporting their stuff. I wanted to mention the Jordan and Sage, who spoke at your walk this weekend. And what is the name of their farm? Because there's a farm in East Baltimore.
Yes, Bliss Meadows,
West
founded
Meadows.
by Atia Wells, and they are all over the Instagrams. And yeah, so Atia is a licensed registered nurse, if I'm not mistaken, and Walk with a Doc is a national program, and we used it as a launch pad to create a relationship between the Bunting Fellows, which is a Hopkins, a year-long Hopkins program for leadership development. And it was a group of nine of us total, but you mainly see four of us out there at Walk with the Doc. And Tia had Jordan and Sage out there talking about some of the programming over at Bliss Meadows. On Instagram, they're listed as Backyard Base Camp. So Backyard Base Camp is the umbrella organization. So yep, Backyard Base Camp. They do a lot of programming. They were talking about I think the porch front programming, as well as some of the husbandry that Jordan's going to be doing, and yeah, the porch front stuff that Sage is doing. She had the bulbs of, what was that, garlic and maybe,
Garlic and onions, yeah.
yeah, scallions and onions. Yep.
So yeah, so on April 9th as well, they have the animal husbandry and sheep shearing event, which they say they only do once a year. It's a very unique experience. Bring your kids out to observe. If you've never seen it, go check it out. I'm gonna try and be there. I got to juggle a couple things, but definitely want to support them. They bring fresh food to the community. They bring Saturday they had some amazing information that was like really empowering, really thought provoking. And so one thing I want to highlight that Jordan taught us was that it is hard in our fight to provide food security to our communities of color or our communities in general.
Right.
And he pointed out part of the reason is that we don't own the land to grow the food. And so one thing he mentioned from his research was that 98% of the land in the United States is owned by white people. And so we don't own land. So that makes it a little more difficult for us to provide healthy food for ourselves. I just thought it was a significant fact that he shared. He shared some other really great information, but that one's kind of just struck me like it's very interesting.
That, and it's huge. It's like you think of the entire United States, and 98% is owned by folks that are white. So it's like 2% is non-white. So that's not even like just assuming that the other 2% is black. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
all these other, it's just non-white. And that is nuts. But again, that's why a lot of the work that I do is around redlining and educating folks that that's by design, chat. Like for so many years, not only could black people not buy land, but women couldn't buy land. Like everybody except for white men were allowed to own and buy land. Like that's so problematic. And then it's like now we have the problems that we have today. So I'll
And
get
I,
off the
I'll,
soapbox.
I'll comment that I saw even today. I was reading some comments by a councilman that I'm not a big fan of, so I won't even say his name. But there is legislation that he was sharing that in 2022 that we're trying to push through legislation in the city that prohibits certain people from purchasing homes in certain communities in 2022. It's very interesting. Um, so I encourage people to dig around a little bit, look for those things because this stuff's still going on. Still Jim Crow,
Oh yeah.
2024.
Yeah. Still Jim
So,
Crow,
and
still
then
block busting, still redlining,
and
still
I got to share this too on the land tip. A lot of the reservations that were that native people were pushed and forced into were either uninhabitable, um, and the land that was habitable and they could use for farming was actually taken back from the government so that they could use them for commercial farms for like soy and corn and these unhealthy products that make a lot of money.
Or
Um,
like you hear in the news now, they are driving a gas line through some native land. Like
I don't even
that
know.
pipeline has been, yeah, and that's been going on for years. Like 3 years, folks have been fighting that. So yeah, they do whatever they
So
want.
we need to figure out how we need to get some land. We all need to get some land. My brother yesterday, Saturday, he was showing me properties in Maryland where you
Hmm.
could get 20 plus acres for less than $500,000,
Right.
and they're undeveloped, and that's perfect, right? Because then you can do whatever you want on them.
Yeah.
And Jordan then was sharing that you don't need 20 acres to do a farm. Like an acre, 2 acres is a lot of work, and that's very
Money.
sustainable for one family or one group of people. So
Right.
just things to think about, right? I wanted to talk about this weekend. I know you were over east a lot. I was over west all Saturday and Sunday. So we we talked with Officer Lee. Hopefully, he makes it on the show today.
Hmm.
But there is the historic Pennsylvania Avenue Parade, which we're going to be doing in early June. And so if he gets on, and even if he doesn't, if you guys reach out to me or Quida, we'll put you in contact with Officer Lee. We're looking for local people first. Officer Anderson pointed out, like, there's a lot of people and talent we can bring to the parade and the stage, but we want our people there. So if you're from Upton, Sandtown, Winchester, Druid Heights, you from around the way, Pensy Ave, from North Avenue to Dolphin, McCullough Homes, like, we need you all to reach out to us. If you got a marching band, if you got a dance group, if you got a cheer squad, if you got and of course we got talent everywhere. Cherry Hill, Greektown, like everybody's got talent. But we're going to fill up the parade with where we're holding the parade first, and then we'll reach out to everybody else. We want to give everybody a chance to participate. We got DJs, we got great musicians. We have so much talent in Baltimore. It's limitless. But hopefully, we're looking forward to getting out there early June and just. I'm gonna say, look, Ev, don't kill me. I'm gonna say we're gonna be ignorant, y'all. We're gonna show up, and show out, and because we need it, you know.
Yes, party in the streets. It's a block party. It's multiple block parties, right? Like it's a celebration and it's a great time. It's like starting off Juneteenth. It's the week before Juneteenth.
That's
Like
right.
go ahead and get the party started. Let's party the whole daggone week. Come on.
So that brings to mind another. I feel like today we're just going to go over all the community stuff coming up this summer. June
There's
3rd
so
to
much.
5th. Yeah, June 3rd to 5th is gun violence awareness. One of them days is Gun Violence Awareness Day. So Mothers Demand Action,
Hmm.
who's an affiliate of Everytown Against Gun Violence, I think. I could
Yeah, weren't they on a couple weeks ago,
They
right?
were.
Yeah.
So that weekend there's a Wear Orange. The weekend before the parade, there's a Wear Orange initiative
Hmm.
to just visually show support into victims of gun violence and survivors.
Mm,
So
okay.
that will be cool. I know the police department has been recruiting chaplains and faith based leaders in communities. Do a lot of prayer walks around the community.
Right.
They've been going well, and I feel like they've been an encouragement to the communities. So there's a couple of those that'll be coming up in your neighborhoods. Just check in with the precincts, and they'll let you know. Um, I have not been out to Reach Partnership, and that's shame on me. Is David McNair with Creative Influence and Rise City Church and Miss Rhonda? They're still out there giving out food.
They are still out there giving out food as far as I know. I haven't been out there either. I think the last time I went out there was the week before we started doing the Saturday outreach. So it would have been in February. And they were out there. Yes. And Dason has confirmed that
Yes. So
Saturday
look, I'm a little
25:55. Go ahead, chat.
I'm a little ashamed, right? Because we haven't been out there. But the reason we haven't had to be out there is because that group, Creative Influence with David McNair and his amazing team, Dayside Level Up, Rise City Church, Pastor Luke, Rhonda McKinney, who's the school coordinator. They have been holding it down, and they've been so consistent. And they know to ask for help when they need it. But they've been so
Right.
consistent to the community that it's we're able to break free and go into places where we're needed.
Yeah.
But I do want to say I love them guys, and I'm grateful for them holding it down over there because that has been a huge blessing to the community. Um, One of the lady across the street from them that runs a tire shop, Mama, I just call her Mama. She was like one of the first black people in Baltimore. I think she was actually the 12th, one of the first, but she's like the 12th black person in Baltimore to register to vote.
How about that?
Yeah, pretty cool. So if you go across the street, ask for Mama. She'll give you a wealth of Baltimore history, beautiful Baltimore history. To the if you're facing her tire shop to the right, there's an old building and a cemetery,
Mm-hmm.
and people don't know it's an old Quaker cemetery. And if anybody cares, Johns Hopkins is buried in that cemetery, so it's not. It's just a little piece of
Little
trivia for
history.
Baltimore. Yeah, I'm not excited about him, but it's just a neat piece of history right there.
Yeah,
So,
it is
and
what it
the
is.
and the garden is beautiful. The cemetery is kept by this little old girl. I have her name. I have her name in my phone. I can't remember her name, but this old girl has been doing it for like 20, 30 years, a very long time. She's planted so much beautiful stuff, and now is the time to visit that little spot, man. Everything's in bloom. It's crazy.
That's really good to know because part of the weekly wellness walks, I want to add hood hikes and find places close to the lake that we can drive to and hear
Oh
historical
yeah, it's right uphill.
stories. Yep, I think that would be dope.
Cool.
Yep, I love it. I love it. I love it. So yeah, 2555 Hartford Road, 10:30. Go ahead and pick up your produce and whatever else may be out there. But also you can show up early. I think like 8:30, 9 o'clock if you want to volunteer. So yeah, so there's that. There's the weekly wellness walk, digital
Oh,
equity. Go ahead.
we got a couple new shows. So, one of my biggest advocates in Southeast Baltimore and in service to the undocumented community in Baltimore, her name is Janet Arce. Um, and she's just really embraced me and helped me plug into the serving that specific community. Has a morning show at 9 a.m. on BlackUSA.News.
How about
Uh,
that?
yep. So talking, well, it's in Spanish, but it's talking with Janet Arce. So
That's dope.
check that out if you are bilingual or you want to, promote the show for our neighbors in Southeast and that live throughout the city. Please check that out. Also, remember the young ladies? There was like a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old we interviewed
With
who were
Taz?
running businesses, right?
Yeah.
Zaria and I forget the other young lady's
Hey,
name. Well, I'm here to tell you they got a morning show on Sunday. Is Black? I think it's Black Girl Magic or Black Girls. Oh man, somebody Hana Blue. Somebody comment in the comments because I don't want to get the title wrong. But these little girls, I saw them today on Hana Blue's show promoting their show.
what?
Bro, yeah, check it out. Check it out. So if you go back on our Facebook page, you can check out the interview they did this morning. They're so inspiring. They're so beautiful. They're so empowered for like empowered children is what I'm talking about. Like
Yes.
a lot of people, if you know me and I come through a lot of times with a group of young men, various young men. Dason has picked up on that and emulates that to a T. Like he has got a great group of young men. Um, they need to know like 12, 13, 14, 15, you're the
Hmm.
now leaders. You guys are
Yeah,
the now leaders.
for sure.
And we are all here with our 30, 40, 50 years of experience in relationships and community equity to hand to you to lead. And
Hmm.
so that's so important to me. And then when I see these young girls that are like not even double digits yet, and it makes me think about a history that a lot of our young people may not know about is the Children's Crusade in Alabama and how when they locked up everybody trying to prevent civil rights momentum, it was the 5-year-olds, the 6-year-olds, the 8-year-olds who marched against armed police with dogs.
Yeah.
And we got 5-year-olds that are throwing tantrums if they don't get a cookie.
Mm.
What?
Listen, hold on, wait, chat. Wait, no, I need to say something about that, right? There is no way that we should still have 5-year-olds that have to go through that trauma on a regular basis.
True.
Right? Okay, so that's
Yeah.
one thing. But, right? So yes, because I hate when I'm talking, not I hate, but it's something about it when I'm talking to like my parents' generation or generation above, and they're like, "Oh, you don't know struggle, you don't know strife, you don't know." And it's like, I don't know your
Yeah, it's just
struggle.
it's
You're
different.
right. Right. Like, but life ain't easy. Life is hard for everybody. We got them bills that come every day. But to your point, those girls are freaking amazing. They are such an inspiration. And to be that young and so business minded, like marketing and understanding the way that your product and your profit margin works, it's like I speak
And
to adults that can't answer those questions, and they're just like, oh, I know that like the back of my hand.
and that's because adults think they got to do everything by themselves. These little girls know who their support is and where it's coming from. And Honda Blue does a good job of pointing that out. He'll during interviews and stuff, he'll let people know, like, talk about your mom, shout out your aunties, shout out, And so the girls are like shouting out, I'm gonna shout out my mom and my auntie. He's like, no, say their name. Like, they are the reason you're empowered to do this. They've poured into you, and so
Right, right,
it's a team effort. Life is a team effort, and so the kids understand that because of their context, their perception. I'm just a kid. I can't do it. No, but we can. And
right.
adults don't think like that. We just think we got to do everything, and
That is
I
so
can't do everything.
true. That is so true. I'm still learning to delegate and ask for help.
Ask for
And,
help.
like it's hard. But see, the thing for me is it's like I have the problem of wanting help the way that I would offer help. And so I have to remember that these are people who are not me, who cannot read my mind. Like
But they also have they're coming in with a different person. Like, you're looking, they're also looking from the outside in and have a different perspective of what your needs are, or they have a vision of how what they do well can fit into what you're doing. You got to let them do that.
absolutely. Absolutely. No, you're right. And that's what I'm learning. Like to learn to be complimented, like not complimented verbally, but complimented like productively, efficiently in the way that the work, I don't think like, I'm a visionary. I think huge picture. Do I get down to the tiny little minuscule details that actually matter? Maybe not every single time, but yeah, so finding somebody that's like, hold on, how many screws do we need? Do we need thumbtacks? Is glue going to be used? Like that person. So knowing who I need is helpful too. Go ahead.
Another thing came to mind while you were talking, because listening to you talk reminds me we've been talking with Miss Nancy Henningsen.
Yes.
So this is a personal shout out, Nancy. We are doing a workshop for nonprofits with BlackUSA.News, and we would love to recruit you to help with the grant writing class. Maybe be a panelist. That'd be amazing. And so, for people who are watching, if you go to our website, blackusa.news, and most likely on bmorenews.com as well, they'll have information on a nonprofit and entrepreneurship summit and virtual program that we're doing. Tickets are, I believe, $25, and you get a resource of really great information, really great people that have come together and not only built this network, but built up each person hosting each show.
Yeah.
So it was really a wealth of and a great collection of experience. And so there'll be something there for everybody, and nobody's getting rich off of it. I think it's affordable and reasonable, $25. So check out the sites, find the information. If you need help finding the information, reach out to us. I need help finding the information because I did not prepare and look it up before the show. So I'll be doing that afterwards as well.
It happens. It happens. And I think one thing we can do is get in the habit of some of the things that we mentioned, just putting them in the comments on our either shared space YouTube page or Small to More Homes YouTube page. So we'll try to get in the habit of that. That way we can drive people to the comments and then y'all can go there and like and subscribe. Boop. So also, Chap, that made me think of Morgan, they are launching their adaptive housing center. And in the launch
What's
of
that?
it all,
What is
right?
it?
So it's like exactly it's being launched, and so it is basically adaptive housing, which would be like tiny homes or van life, and thinking of accessibility in a more common schedule. Like in a lot of ways, you have to go and look for, I don't know, a home who has lights that blink if you are a deaf or hard of hearing, or even ADA and wheelchair accessibility. There's not always housing that has that type of accessibility. So it loops that in with also, buttons that are easy to press and door handles that are easy to use, and thinking about the heights of drawers and all those different things. But, my spin is tiny homes are totally adaptable. Like, look at those steps right there. Those are steps and storage and a closet. You know what I mean? Like just thinking of how to make housing accessible for all folks. But my point is, the end of May, there is going to be a symposium. So, folks who are architects or designers or artists or developers, hit us up because we're looking for feedback from the community about ways to make homes adaptive. And the best way to do that is to speak to more folks about their needs and what they think adaptability looks like. So, another symposium, another call of action for folks. Like, let us know if you're interested in being on a panel discussion and what you want to talk about.
I also, now that you said that, because May kind of skipped over May, went from April to June. May 1st is a pre Mother's Day celebration that is going to be hosted at New Cornerstone Baptist Church on, let's see what time. I'm not sure what time. I think it's 3 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay.
Tickets are only $10. They're just trying to do a light fundraiser to get some food and snacks to help feed the community while they're doing outreach alongside some other groups. Um, so yeah, I encourage people. I'm not going to put any invitations to like $250 dinner plate uh, programs or events happening in the city, and they do happen. $15,000 plate events happen. Or keep it under $50. And a lot of times, if we can support and show up, or even just buy a ticket and give it to someone else, the little comedy shows, little gospel shows, all of it helps build a better community. I
Yeah.
promise you, the money is not going to go to waste. It's much needed, and every little bit counts.
It really does. It really does. One other thing I guess I can mention is that I'm trying to get the tiny home here. This guy that's right here. So this weekend in Berryville, Virginia, there will be a tiny home workshop. So I'll be doing some design thinking with folks and talking about ways to make the house a little more innovative. And that'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can go to smalltomorehomes.org and send me a kite if you are interested in hearing about that. There's a bunch of stuff going on, chat. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Oh, in the end of April, I was telling you about the what is it called? The Serve Safe event. I'm not sure. It's
Okay.
50 volunteers who want to build um, one of the 8x8 shelters. They don't necessarily have to have tool skills, but we will do some sort of tool training and, safety and tools training. But yeah,
Good.
that,
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to mention that as well.
yes,
Um,
that
so
is
when is that?
April. I want to say it's Friday, Friday and Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Let me look at the calendar.
Hmm.
Or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yes,
So yeah.
April, definitely April 29th and 30th.
Okay.
I have to find out if it's the Thursday to Saturday or Friday to Sunday.
And yeah, so come learn what Baltimore Homes is doing, and trying to get help doing legislatively, economically, and volunteer wise. Like we need to put these things together to help this initiative. Building the shelters, building micro shelters. Learn some safety using power tools.
Yep.
Learn how to use some power tools, and I am participating in helping instruct that. I am a veteran carpenter. I have built $1 million homes down Volano Beach in Florida. I when I was building homes for various contractors in Florida, my crew was cranking out, I think, 2 homes a week, in a 40-hour week, and framing them up for trades. So I'm talking like 300, 400, $500,000 homes, like 2 floors, 28, 3,000 square foot homes. There's a rhythm,
Framing
there's a
homes.
method, and there's, you don't have to be. I'm not a very crafty or creative person, but there is a rhythm to building, and there is an order. And when you learn to do things in order, things go together so smoothly. So come learn a little bit, and it may those things you learn may carry over in other parts of your life, of course, and build some great relationships while volunteering. Um, I wanted to shout out Greenmount West Community Center.
Yes,
Saturday, I didn't make it over there, and I don't know if you did, but they had an all-day flooring build day.
I
And it,
know from Miss Bell, right?
yeah, so another space where, if you have construction skills, please see Greenmount Community Center, Greenmount West Community Center. And if you don't, and you want to volunteer and learn some, or if you want to meet a plumber or electrician because you need stuff at your house, go volunteer. Go volunteer, man.
Right, Chap, because that now you're in the room with like-minded folks. They're there to donate their time. And no, they might not donate their time to you, but they might give you a good deal, or you might be able to work something out because you know that your toilet is broke and your neighbor's toilet is broke. And maybe they can do both of them because now you've already came in the door with a referral. So think about community leveraging resources. Go ahead, Chapo.
No, you got my wheels turning. When I was a kid, before the internet, looking for work, I used to show up to restaurants, construction sites, landscaping. Um, I would show up and work for free because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a job anyway. So this may be another opportunity too, where you just show up and volunteer.
Yep.
Somebody might see a talent or potential in you and pick you up. Like I would go, even as a kid, I went to Dominic's Pizza Shop. Right, I was 17 or something. They weren't hiring. I needed a job. Nobody was hiring. So I said, well, let me just wash dishes for a couple nights. I don't got nothing better to do. Just give me some pizza. And next thing you know, I worked all summer at Dominic's. Taught me how to make pies. They taught me how to cook, short cook, and everything because I was willing to do dishes for free. Same with building a house. When I got out the Navy in Florida, the reason I'm really good at building houses, I showed up and worked. The guy was like asking me what I wanted to say, what I knew. I had no experience, no knowledge. I said, dude, let me just work. I said, I don't care what you pay me, I'm gonna work. So I worked 2 or 3 days before the guy even talked to me about money, and he ended up giving me really good money as a carpenter's helper, just loading up the benches, cleaning up the job site. But within 6 months, I had learned how to read blueprints. I'm correcting the engineers who are making blueprints because they're not in the field, and so seeing things that aren't logical, but it looks good on paper. And
Right.
it took about 6 months, but really working really hard at it because I didn't want to be a helper for the rest of my career, right? So, um,
Right.
but I say to say in these volunteer opportunities, not just in building, but like with the farm,
Yeah.
with various things, you can pick up skills that'll carry over, and you never know how God's preparing you for something down the road.
Yeah,
So,
listen, one of the guys, so a couple of weeks ago, I was working on this project through Baltimore Healthy Start. And basically, we were getting feedback from tenants, landlords, and developers about their housing situation. So, one of the guys that I interviewed was like, this was really helpful. It made me think about my future. But I'm wondering about your organization. I want to come out and I want to volunteer with you. How can I help you? And at the time, I was like, I don't really have time to train you. But then I thought about it. I was like, you can show up to walk with the doc and You can engage folks as they're coming up, introduce yourself, make sure that they know that they can eat something, that they should sign in, that we're here every Sunday, yada yada yada. But the fact that he just offered it and, wanted to engage, I don't think that people always have that mindset when they have free time. They're like, I'm going to fill this with TV, or I'm going to sit at home
Sure.
on Netflix.
It's easy to like, smoke a joint, binge watch
Right,
movies, drink a
right.
beer, watch TV, or play
Veg
video
out,
games.
not pay
Sure. Yeah,
attention.
yeah. And everybody needs downtime. We're not saying don't do self care. Sometimes self care is volunteering.
For
My
me,
partner
it
Lewis.
always has
Oh
been.
yeah. For me and Lewis, when we met, we started building a relationship. That's my partner for Power Fest Baltimore. He said something that struck me because it was the same advice I got from my parents, was that when you're feeling depressed, go volunteer, go help somebody else.
Yep.
And man, like, you don't understand how much you need it until you do it,
Right. Because
you
it
know.
helps you just as much as it helps the person that you're actually extending your
But by helping them, you're helping yourself, because now you're building confidence, right? You were empowered to help someone else. Well, if I can help them, maybe I can help myself,
right,
and
right.
maybe they
Building
can help
their self
yourself too.
esteem, your self esteem. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's mutually inclusive and mutually beneficial.
So speaking of housing, because I remember we were talking. I've had a lot of conversations coming up in the last 2 months, actually, for predatory flipping and predatory landlord stuff that we've been trying to deal with. And the show before us, Frontline News with Yolanda Pulley and Jason Rodriguez, those two have come through a lot in helping with this initiative, protecting residents, aging residents. And Baltimore Action Catalyst team, they did that's the one you talked about. I facilitated. Had a conversation about some new housing legislation in the vacant properties specifically. Got some good information from Council President Mosby. So I wanted to shout them out for also having some events coming up. They've got, if you go to their website on Facebook, I know they have some community education, some like finance classes and entrepreneurship opportunities for youth, and a lot of community stuff going on over there. There's somebody else I wanted to mention, but I got to remember. We have so much good stuff going on in Baltimore, though, right? Like,
Always
we
is.
could filling up the show of just talking about other people that are doing stuff. So this is really encouraging to me.
Definitely. I mean, now that folks are outside and COVID and Omarion and Omicron, they are acting right. And, like, I think the numbers are trending in the right way because folks aren't wearing masks. So it's looking good for the summertime. I just hope that it stays like this and that we continue to work toward, creating lives that are more healthy and more balanced than they had been before.
I want to say too, tomorrow at Rock City Church up on the hill. If you guys are from Loch Raven, if not, if you go out Loch Raven area, Loch Raven or Cromwell, just Google Rock City Church. They have a food pantry from 12 to 4 daily, and they've got LED bulbs, prepared foods, as well as desserts and breads and some non-perishables. Occasionally, they do have fresh produce if you can't get it from Lake Clifton on Saturdays. But they just texted me. That's why I brought it up. Daniel Epps over there does a great job of running a warehouse. So if you can get a ride up there, somebody with wheels, tell them to go take like Daniel's trying to empty the warehouse every day. So if you got wheels, take a
Wow.
van, empty the warehouse, go get some
Where is
food.
this at again?
Loch Raven, it's called Rock City Church.
Mhm.
Their food bank is called A Can Make a Difference.
Okay.
Um,
Nice.
let's see. Oh, Urban Hunger League, Urban Hunger Project, supported through Catholic Charities. They are out on Pennsylvania Avenue and Cumberland every Saturday and Sunday morning at 9:30, serving hot meals.
Oh,
Got hot breakfast. They got oatmeal. They got bread pudding. They got fruit, water, PB and J's, and lunches to go. Um, Sometimes they'll have produce, but normally what they do is they're outside the city west, and so their team comes in and sits and camps out there in the mornings feeding people. But then they have, if you go meet them at their church in the mornings, They give us hundreds of boxes of thousands of boxes of produce, and pre-made lunches like PB&J, some name brand chips, not the buy right stuff.
Mhm.
Bottled waters, and fruit. They have some really nice little lunches. And I'll tell you, before someone else took over for me and Cesar, from Bayview,
Mhm.
Cesar Romero, were giving out 1,000 lunches every Saturday. And that's just one district. I was just the missing piece. They already have people in place all over the city, and they're like, "Chap, we don't have anybody in Southeast. Can you do it?" And I'm like, "I'll do it till I find somebody." Um, and then as well, they were serving. I mean, they serve everywhere, but
Mhm.
definitely on Cumberland and Pensy Ave. If you're in the neighborhood and you just want a hot breakfast, man, it's they give you a crap ton of brown sugar, so don't be shy. Like, I had a scoop of oatmeal and like 3 scoops of brown sugar and some syrup on top. But you got to bring your own butter. Got to bring your own butter. So
Listen, with all of that sugar, don't nobody need the butter. It's good. It's good with all of the sugar. It sounds delicious. I'm learning to love oatmeal, and I think it's good because I think it's one of those foods that if you don't put a ton of sugar in it, that
mhm.
it lowers your cholesterol. I think it's one of those eat healthy kind of foods. So yeah, there's a ton of stuff going on. Is there anything else going on in the community?
I will put it out there in the universe so that people can start holding me accountable. I need to do more in my own neighborhood. Ryan Dorsey is running this district into the ground, um, and he's affecting other parts of the city that ain't asked for his help. So I need to be more involved here. Everybody knows we're all over the place. We're from I tell people from what I say from Park Heights to Parkville, Sandtown to Greektown, um, Harlem to Hamilton. Right? We move through the city where there's a need. If somebody calls me and asks, or sometimes I ask on behalf of residents, like wherever there's a need, we try to be there. Um, and I need to be here as well. So,
And what
yeah.
type of work, what do you want to focus on? Because I know the last time we spoke about community development and helping folks like form different community initiatives with their local rec center. What specifically do you
Oh
want?
yeah, we do. That's another one. God's timing is always perfect, right? We've kind of put that on the back burner, but yeah. So each rec center in the city, the reason rec centers are failing and closing, each rec center by in the bylaws of the agency is supposed to have a rec council of
Hmm.
people that live. You don't even have to live in the community; just live in the city. You don't
Hmm.
have to live in the community. That's the board you serve on, but you're supposed to have a rec council board that guides and protects the community space and the rec center, um, pretty much from the politics that are running it right now. They can't. If somebody researches, there's certain demands and empowerment you can make as a community if you sit on the rec board
Hmm.
that even helps directors out who because there's a ton of directors that want to do stuff and they're really pissed off because they're open but they're not getting the resources they need. I know that Johnny Swinton over at Maura Crossman is probably still waiting on a printer 3 years later. So and she
That's
and
awesome.
hopefully the principal there has opened up the doors to use the gym because 100% of the recs that share a gym with the schools, last I heard, were not able to have access to the gyms for whatever reason, and the reason is poor relationships because the
Mhm.
politics running the recs are not being governed or bridged by a rec council.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
need communities to step in there.
Hmm.
One other, we got a couple minutes left. One thing I wanted to talk about because as we backtrack a little bit to homelessness and in housing in general, we discovered last couple weeks that zero homeless shelters have a capacity to receive a service animal,
Yep.
not a pet. A pet you got to let go maybe, but even that's even harder to let go. But a service animal, even though there's not a specific certification to identify a service animal, if someone is disabled and they say that this animal is a service animal, there's ADA regulations that state you have to accommodate that part of their disability,
Right.
but no homeless shelters do.
Nope.
And so when we have vets that may have a service dog, we have disabled adults and aging citizens or younger citizens who have service dogs, if they are in a situation where they're experiencing homelessness, they will not be accommodated
Right.
with part of their need or
Right.
part of their health care. So I think that's something we can talk about and start, maybe making some noise about. Christina Flowers helped.
Listen, Chap, add it to the list. There are very few homeless shelters that, let's say you had a daughter who was 12 years old, you two would have to be separated. You know what I'm They don't allow couples. If I had a son in some instances and he's too old, like the way that people who
And I'll
are elderly
let me share this too, because they'll tell you is you got to put them in the system. You got to put them in the system and give them to a social worker is what they got to tell you. And there's another spot, and I don't want to name names because I know the guy that runs it is well intended, and he does a lot of good things for his community. But there are youth homeless shelters which are kind of illegal because if you're under 18, um, Department of Family Services is supposed to pick you up anyway. But it's another need because we have teens experiencing stuff where they find themselves homeless in a hot minute and they have nowhere safe to go. And when this one place that did have youth homeless shelter, I reached out to them about 2 years ago, and I haven't really reached back since because I had a 17-year-old
Yep.
whose mother was going to kill her. She got out of
Yeah.
the house,
Mm.
and she just needed a place to stay for the night, or in the moment. And when I called that place, they said call Protective Child Services, and I'm like, we're calling you because we thought you served this community. So,
Right, right. There's
um,
so many gaps and loopholes and, these populations that are already marginalized, that are already traumatized, that are already, forgotten about. And that's what I think about when I think about Baltimore Homes villages. Like they're villages for communities of like-minded folks so that, LGBT youth are taken care of, foster youth that age out of foster care are taken care of, parents with their kids
aged
or
aged out is huge. So that's a whole nother month of conversation.
listen, bruh, who you telling? Who are you telling? And then there's this population of veterans who have service animals. Like people are going to care about the
Hmm.
veterans with the service animals, maybe not everybody else, because
No,
like there's
they're supposed
always
to.
some sort of air about who we're allowed to care about and who deserves to be homeless. And it's like, no, no one deserves to be homeless. What are we talking about? So yeah, so again, I'll get off my soapbox and yeah, like I'll
Yeah,
just get off the soapbox. It's almost time to go
it
anyway.
is.
So our people didn't check in,
That's
but
okay.
yep, I know Chef Patrick, he called. We're gonna get him on. We're gonna get Officer Lee on. We're gonna get Omar on. Everybody is
Oh,
always welcome to come back. Go ahead.
yeah. We also have a pending interview with the now famous. I had a chance to talk to him before he was hood famous. Officer Malik. Jalik, what's his name? The sneaks and police guys, police and sneaks.
Okay.
So there's officer. I can't pronounce his name. I don't want to mess it up, bro. Sorry, but he's shared a couple times. Like, let's connect. He wants to get on the show and talk about how his journey. He started off just buying a pair of shoes for someone in the neighborhood on his beat every paycheck, and it has turned into a whole nonprofit movement. And this guy is buying um, you know, not just buying but getting donated really nice shoes from different places. And so it's really cool to catch him. I guess now that things have evolved because he can really share the journey of how he's just putting shoes on new shoes every week on people on young kids' feet in Northwest Baltimore and all of Baltimore now. And so I love it. Um,
That's
and also, the other guest we got coming hopefully this month is the man. There's a man named Johnny Clayton, Sifu Johnny Clayton, trained under Bruce Lee for traditional Wing Chun and Jeet Kune Do. And he teaches traditional Wing Chun, which is what Bruce Lee was taught before he evolved all martial arts into his style Jeet Kune Do. So all the fans know what I'm talking about. So this guy studied under Bruce Lee. He brought kung fu to Baltimore, Maryland, and Baltimore, but Maryland first. As a black dude, he brought kung fu to Baltimore way back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and he trained a guy in Parkville named Sifu Jeff Fisick. And so we're gonna have Seafood Clayton, on the show. Hopefully, he's not watching. Spoiler alert. We're gonna have the young man that he trained, who's older than me now, as a surprise host. Right, surprise him a little bit. And Jeff is beginning. Mr. Sifu Fisick is hopefully taking some new students and getting back into things on next weekend. And so as this progresses and grows, we'll have another outlet for our young men to learn some discipline, learn some different culture, because you got to learn the history to do the kung fu, man. Sifus don't play, and just and meet new people and build new relationships. So it's
You
another
know
space.
what would be super dope? If he could also come out to the community wellness walk and
Okay,
talk about kung fu and whatever, and how it's good for your chakras and centering yourself and mindfulness and all that good I think that would be dope too.
okay, we can do it. We can do it. Look, I'll let you invite him because you're prettier. You can invite him when we have him on the show.
I'll bet my eyes a little bit.
There you go.
All right, Chapo, this was dope. This is always fun, always fun. And then whoever chimed in, you guys can catch us at the same bat time, same bat channel, 7:05, 7 o'clock. You guys show up at 7 o'clock, okay? And we'll be on at 7:05 Mondays, and we'll see you next week, right, Chapo?
Yep. See you guys.
All right, have a good one. God bless and good night.